Hey guys, this is a video to demonstrate a technique on the X Pro theme. When you're using the footer builder, if you start testing on your mobile, for mobile responsiveness, and you test on your smaller devices and you start seeing your text overlapping each other like you do here, big time, then there's a couple things that you need to do. And so rather than you going and creating a bar that's specific for mobile, you can make this be responsive. Then you only have to have one footer bar. So what you need to do is go into each one of the containers and set this flex grow to 1. Okay. And so I'm going to do that for each one of these. Go back to layout and go to the third column and do it on the fourth column. So set all these to 1, and you see right now there's not any big difference, but then you also have to go back to the main bar and set this wrap children, and bam, there you go. Now it's actually responsive. Now there's a few other controls that you can use to further fine-tune this, like you can use this outer spacing. That will put a little bit of additional spacing in between, sort of like a gutter on each side. And so if I set this to like 3 EM, you see that it sets up a sort of a buffer there, and it ends up making the different containers wrap better. Okay, and so then let's go back to the desktop view, and everything looks great there. So you can play around with that. You can also play around with the content length. So like if I set this to like 75%, you can see that it kind of scrunches all of my containers together. And let's go down here, and now it's still doing the 75% of the width, but since we're at a smaller resolution, it automatically wraps those correctly. Okay, so you can play around with that. You can also do some playing around with this space between. I think that will make some kind of difference. Well, maybe not at the bar level, but on the column level it will. So you can come here and we're looking at the first column here, which is this section here. So like you can change this to center, and that will make it look like that. But then when we go back to desktop, you'll see that it's centered here rather than left justified. So you might want to play around with that a little bit. And then you can also, instead of using, let me go back here to the bar and reset this back to 0 and this to 0. Oh, I don't want to set that to 0, I want to set it to 100. Okay. And then let me go back to like this first column here. And what I can do is I can change, you can mess with your margins. Okay, so if you unlink these and then set like a left and right, like maybe 3 EM, and if you do that on each one, you'll end up with the same amount of padding around each one, and it will further help you with the wrapping. Okay, so like for example, if you have like these two that are wrapping, they're not wrapping the way you want them to, but maybe everything else is working out great. Maybe you can just add a little bit more margin on this guy here. So let's unlink these and then do 3 EM. 3 EM, and you can see that then goes down to the next deal. But now you've got these kind of, you basically have to set them all the same way. So this one we would want to set to the same way, something like that. Okay, so that gives you a little bit more control there. And then when we go back here, now there is some additional margin between them, and so it's it's not allowing this last one to be on the same row, but maybe that's what you want. And maybe at a larger resolution than what I can show in this video, maybe it would, see, like right there, it does start formatting better. And so you can kind of play around with it and figure out whatever kind of layout you want based on your different resolution sizes. But that should get you started on how to make your footers more responsive. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.